Universal Orlando Resort continues to expand and big changes are on the way. Hello everybody, welcome. Expansions, new lands, attractions, hotels, City Walk 2.0. Today we're going to talk about everything we know and speculate on what is coming to Universal over the next 10 years. Universal theme parks are firing on all cylinders, posting a 24% revenue increase over last year. This is an insane number. If you know anything about theme park revenue, 24% lift in revenue is just absolutely insane. And this is all primarily driven by Epic Universe. And in the words of Karen Irwin, president and COO of Universal Orlando Resort, even though Epic Universe feels like a finale, it really isn't. It's just the beginning of what's next. They are not only looking to elevate Universal brands worldwide, but they have their sights set on being the #1 theme park in the entire world. Clearly, Disney holds that spot today, and it's gonna take a lot to get to #1. It might even be impossible at this point, to be honest, but they're gunning for it. Mark Woodbury, who's the chairman and CEO of Universal Parks and Resorts, revealed that they are aggressively expanding, and there are lots of new parks and attractions planned in the coming years. He also revealed that this is more than just getting more market share, more than just eking out a little bit more out of the theme park industry, that they're going after Disney and everybody else in a big way. He said specifically, "We want people to think of us first." And we are seeing that with everything that is happening with Universal Parks and Resorts around the world. And I want to talk about all the things that we know are coming to Universal Orlando specifically over the next 10 years, as well as all the things we're hearing that are rumor and a little bit of speculation. And when you see this, I promise you, by the end of this video, you will be amped up. There is so much happening at Universal Orlando. As excited as I was about Epic Universe, I think I'm even more excited for what's coming next. This is absolutely a great time to be a theme park lover. So let's start out with our #1 thing we want to know about. What is going on with Epic Universe? How are they expanding it? How are they going to top themselves? What is next for that theme park? The first thing is we know there's an event center, a VIP space that's coming right there next to Super Nintendo World. Construction has already begun on that. I'm going to go ahead and throw up on this map, and it's going to have a lot of things on it. We'll go through them one at a time. The event center there, this is going to be for lots of events, but it's not just what people are thinking about from an event perspective. This event center could be used for lots of different things, even for just regular daytime guests. They could have special events for annual pass holders. They could do special food festivals, and this could be the central location for a lot of the different things that happen with regards to a food festival. This is a multi-use, mixed-purpose building that could be used in a lot of different ways. This was originally supposed to launch with the park at opening, but because of budgets, it got cut, and they're now immediately doing a fast follow. Next, we have the brand new Harry Potter attraction that we've talked about in multiple videos. We've got tons of videos out there that I've done with regards to this new attraction and what it could be. Everything from a broomstick attraction to a Quidditch Cup type attraction to a Thestral carriage ride. But certainly the size and acreage of this space here for this massive structure is going to be a really cool dark ride attraction, probably on the level of Battle with the Ministry right next door. But there's a whole other expansion area right next door to Battle with the Ministry, kind of between Battle with the Ministry and the Helios Grand, that nobody really talks about. This is a sizable chunk space right here that they could use for something else. They could use it for, I don't know, additional parking or something for the hotel or just any type of maintenance things. But there's room right there. They could even expand the Wizarding World of Harry Potter into this area and create a third large attraction in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter without having to dip into the space right next door, which is currently reserved for a brand new portal. And that area right next door is one of the ones that's going to be a bit further out from some of these other changes to Epic Universe. This one, we really don't know what's going to be going here, but it is a huge space, and it is currently reserved for a brand new portal. This is not going to be an expansion for Isle of Berk. This is not going to be an expansion for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. This is going to be a completely new portal with a completely different IP of some kind. What could it be? We have no idea, but for now, I'm just going to say, hey, maybe we'll get Lord of the Rings in here. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope maybe we get that in this space. It could be something else. They probably don't even know what it is yet because there's probably some unnamed IP that hasn't even been created yet or had a movie about it. It's going to go crazy, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, that's the new portal. But I'm going to cross my fingers and say, you know what? Let's say Lord of the Rings for now. Moving on down to the bottom of this map, there is the Super Nintendo world. Right next door, there is a completely large expansion pad here. Speculation is this is going to be expansion for Super Nintendo World. This could potentially, yes, be another portal that they could add. But right now, there are so many things needed for Super Nintendo World. I think a majority of this space is going to end up as an expansion for Super Nintendo World. And right now, the front runners there are, of course, a Zelda area. Now, there's a little bit of speculation here and rumor on whether this will be a Zelda area / land or just a simple Zelda attraction as part of an expansion to Super Nintendo World. We don't know yet, and there still is the possibility Zelda could end up somewhere else, but right now that's where we're thinking it's going to go. Also, a Luigi's Mansion type attraction. Imagine some sort of dark ride, shooter type game. Luigi's Mansion could really work there. We keep hearing a lot of rumors about that one. Or it could be used for something completely different. We just don't know at this point. But now right next door to that, in the very back there of Dark Universe, you're going to see one of the things that I'm the most pumped about, which is the creature from the Black Lagoon. This was speculated to have been originally concepted and created for Dark Universe, but ended up being a cut attraction from Dark Universe, or even potentially always planned to be a Phase 2 expansion for Dark Universe. This is that section of space right there behind the Monsters Unchained Frankenstein's Castle Manor there. Always been speculated to be some sort of intense dark ride, a boat attraction, a water ride of some kind. I think another water ride attraction, especially one indoor, is needed for Epic Universe. Right now, there's only really one water attraction, and it's outdoor. And it's something that I've been saying about Epic Universe for quite a while. There's not enough indoor attractions. When it rains in that park, you may as well not even be there. There's just not enough to do. And so adding another dark ride, especially a water ride of some kind that puts a lot of people through it, like a Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, that's going to be super helpful. And I think Creature from the Black Lagoon, we keep seeing Easter eggs for Creature from the Black Lagoon all over the place. They just added another Easter egg there in the Universal Legacy store. You've got Creature from the Black Lagoon right there front and center in that little portal sort of snapshot. This is pretty much guaranteed to be coming. I'm not going to go as far as saying it's confirmed, but this, if it happens, this is where it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a dark water ride. Now, we also, of course, have the City Walk 1.5. This is the open hub concept I've been talking about for a while. Big change there, being able to let people explore and enjoy Celestial Park, even if they don't have a theme park ticket for entry after a certain time. They've already opened this up for certain conferences in the area to be able to go to Epic Universe and walk around Celestial Park after a certain time. I'm expecting this to be eventually opened up to people like annual pass holders. If you have an annual pass to Universal, the ability to go in. I think they're testing it, trying to assess the volume, the popularity, how well it works, potentially opening it for annual pass holders later. If they do open it to annual pass holders, they might also put a reservation system in place so that they don't overwhelm Epic Universe, especially in the early days of this testing. So we'll see. But this will allow them to get a sort of City Walk-like experience at Epic Universe without actually having to build a City Walk next door. So those are the big things that we think are coming to Epic Universe over the next decade. Let's move now on over to Islands of Adventure. So many big things happening at Islands of Adventure. You're not even going to recognize Islands of Adventure in the next decade. It is going to be completely different. First and foremost, we have the Lost Continent. Pokemon is going in there. It's all but been confirmed at this point. So many inside sources are telling us it's Pokemon. We're already seeing the construction happening. All the queues are lining up. It's pretty much Pokemon. Expecting one main dark ride attraction there, one potentially show, some sort of smaller like VR AR type battle experience, a new restaurant. Mythos is going away. We're going to get a new Pokemon restaurant, all themed land, completely transformed. But now let's move on to the two big ones that are totally unknown. They're going a little bit further out here, so there's a lot less information. Number one on the docket, Toon Lagoon. Is that area going to be replaced? It's all water rides right now. It's also not super popular. I mean, one of the restaurants in Toon Lagoon, I think, is only open for a couple of hours in an entire week. That's how low popular that area is compared to the other areas of the park. What's going to be going in and replacing Toon Lagoon? It's going to happen at some point. There's a completely empty amphitheater that's not even being used. It's a huge amount of space. Right now, front runners are going to be something like One Piece or potentially even Looney Tunes. We'll talk about that in a second, but One Piece would be really cool there. I think that they do want to bring One Piece to their parks somewhere at some point. I don't know how big it'll end up being. It's really going to depend on how well the Netflix series continues to be. One Piece is massive, just anime, manga, everything. I mean, it's already massive. It doesn't need the Netflix series, but I think the Netflix series is popularizing it and bringing it more to the United States and to adults over in the United States that aren't even aware of it. I think that there's a very high potential that they could put something One Piece. I'm just going to earmark it here for now, but again, it could be something more similar to Toon Lagoon, like a Looney Tunes, for example. But before I talk about that, let's switch over to the Marvel. This is the Marvel area. This is the elephant in the room. What is going on with the Marvel area? Obviously, Marvel is now owned by Disney. Are we going to get something there? They're allowed to keep it pretty much forever, I believe. They don't have to get rid of Marvel. The problem is they can't really add anything new. So they don't have to give it up. They can leave it as is, but they can't add a bunch of new stuff. It's part of the contract, it's part of the agreement. And so, unfortunately, the Marvel Superhero Island, as much as you may love it, is basically stuck in time. It's stuck at a moment in time, and it will never be improved or changed. It just pretty much is what it is. And so if they ever want to do something new, they're going to have to give up Marvel and move to something else. A very obvious frontrunner there would be the DC Universe. Unfortunately, DC Universe is currently owned, the theme park rights are currently owned by Six Flags. This is a Warner Brothers property. It will now be Paramount as long as all that stuff goes through. Paramount will then own it. Unfortunately, Comcast did not win the bid for it. However, I could definitely see as it's changing hands with Paramount, and Six Flags really doesn't do a lot with DC, to be honest. I don't know how Six Flags is even still operating at this point. There's so much debt happening, and a lot of their parks are closing permanently. There may be some room for renegotiating the DC theme park rights and allow Comcast and Universal to actually start using that property in their theme parks to sort of get rid of some of the exclusivity that they have with Six Flags. This would open up things like Aquaman and Batman and Superman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Shazam. I mean, just so many different crazy IPs they could put in there. But however, there's also other things that Warner Brothers / Paramount now own that again could be negotiated with as part of a deal with DC to add some other elements into their wheelhouse for Universal, like a Lord of the Rings. Again, I'm not going to go into the complexities of Lord of the Rings and who owns it and all that stuff because it's just too much for this video. I've done a whole other video on Lord of the Rings. You want to look at that, look at that. But there's whole bunches of reasons why that can happen, can't happen, who owns it, etc. But I'm just going to say, Warner Brothers Paramount does have rights to in some capacity to Lord of the Rings, so it could help their chances of bringing it over. Other things like Game of Thrones, Hanna-Barbera, Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, Spooky Island, anybody? Wizard of Oz and Wicked, Beetlejuice, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Dune, Godzilla, Goonies, Sesame Street, and Looney Tunes. Again, this could be another position here for the Toon Lagoon. Looney Tunes, again, owned by the same company that owns DC Universe, so could be some sort of pairing that happens there in the future. So we'll see if this happens. Yes, DC, I think, could come to Marvel Superhero Island. Yes, I think Looney Tunes, but again, maybe something better, like a One Piece, cross my fingers, but a lot of stuff. So if you think about that, those 3 islands at Islands of Adventure could be completely replaced in the next 10 years. So it would be basically 50% of Islands of Adventure could be completely different here in the next decade. Now let's shift gears and talk about Universal Studios, probably the most lost its way park of any of them. It's sort of directionless at this point. It's got some cool things coming to it, but it's pretty much the most directionless park in my opinion. But we do have some really cool things that we know are coming to this park. Number 1, E.T. is getting an upgrade. I've talked about in this other videos. We're getting an E.T. supercharged improvement to the ride vehicle system there. Probably some improvements to the actual ride and queue itself. That's going to be coming here soon. We have the Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift Rip Ride Rocket replacement, which is already being constructed. I've done videos on that. I'm not going to belabor it here, but that's going to be a really cool spinning, drifting attraction, just like the one in Universal Hollywood. But the Fast and Furious Supercharged, which has been confirmed to be going away and being replaced by something, two primary candidates going in there. Number one, Back to the Future. A Back to the Future re-theme to that attraction. The second one is potentially a Wizarding World of Harry Potter night bus experience. Unfortunately, from what I'm hearing, it seems like the Fast and Furious Supercharged is not going to get bulldozed or gutted. It's just going to basically use the same ride system that Fast and Furious Supercharged uses. So that's kind of disappointing, to be honest. I don't even know if I want a Back to the Future attraction to go into that building at this point, because I think that ride system is so lame, quite honestly. And so I think it will just not do justice to Back to the Future. Go ahead and do a night bus thing if you want. I think that would be cool, I guess. But to be honest, just a re-theme in there, I'm not going to be loving it no matter probably what they put in. They add night bus, man, that takes Wizarding World of Harry Potter down half the park at this point because of the location of Supercharged. It feels weird that they would put it there, but those are the potential options. We also are hearing rumors that the Men in Black attraction is going to be receiving an upgrade. Upgrades to the vehicle systems, brand new guns that you're going to be able to shoot that have improved sights, improved targeting, possibly some changes to the interior of the attraction as well, the way the points are scored, the different animatronics. Staying Men in Black, however. So it looks like we're going to be keeping, I was expecting Men in Black to potentially go away and be replaced by something. It looks like now we're going to be keeping it and we're getting an upgrade. So that could be something pretty cool. Now let's talk about two of the further out ones that are a bit more speculation and rumor. The Fear Factor live show building that's been used for the Nightmare Fuel and now used for a new show coming up this year for Halloween Horror Nights. I'm expecting that to get replaced by something at some point. I don't know what. It had been rumored that a Harry Potter expansion was going to go in there. We could potentially see that, but we don't know what's happening. But I expect something to go there within the next decade. Because right now it's just pretty much a waste of space other than during Halloween Horror Nights. Another big elephant in this room is the Simpsons area. Again, thought it was going to be Pokemon at one point, and they've now switched gears and moved that to Lost Continent. And at this point, we really don't know what they're doing with Simpsons Land. It looks like the contract may have been extended a little bit longer to give them more time to figure it out. But I think it is possible that they could do something with Wicked there. We know they've been wanting to bring some Wicked experiences, attractions, shows, etc. into Universal resorts and parks. I'm thinking potentially Wicked could go here, or at least maybe a Wicked attraction in this place. I don't know if it'll be a completely new rethemed lands, but hey, you know what? We could get something Wicked here. But again, I just don't know. It's going to be up in the air. Could be Zelda too, I suppose, but I think Wicked is maybe a high contender. However, I do also think that Wicked could potentially go in the Fear Factor live show building. They could put a Wicked show there. They could do a Wicked attraction there instead. So I think one of those two locations is probably the safest bet for where a Wicked attraction might show up. Now, one of the really further out ones I wanted to put in here is the back of the house area there behind Fast and Furious Supercharged. Absolutely no information on this, no like permits, nothing like that. But we do know that one of the original intents for why they built such a huge, enormous back of the house area and reserved so much space at Epic Universe was so they could potentially move some of the back of the house operations from their other two theme parks over into the Epic Universe space where it doesn't need to have such close proximity. So you think of like HR services and things like that, wardrobe, things like that, that don't necessarily need to be right next to the park. They could put those over in Epic Universe and then demolish those buildings back there and create more space for attractions and areas for the existing parks. Because right now they're out of space, they're landlocked, they have no more room. This would enable them to be able to smash these buildings here and put something else. And there's a lot of space there. You could put an entire land back there, quite honestly. So I've just gone ahead and earmarked this. I don't know if this will happen within the next decade. If it does, it might start towards the tail end of this decade. But I do think it's reasonable to think there's going to be something happening in that area there. Those are the two most likely buildings right there that I think they could potentially shutter and replace with something new. All right, a few more things. Let's talk a little bit about City Walk, some of the things we know. We're getting a Five Guys Burgers and Fries, which is replacing the Burger King Whopper Bar. We're getting Fat Ones Hot Dogs by Joey Fatone. This is replacing the Hot Dog Hall of Fame, unfortunately. And then we're getting a massive 3-story restaurant right there over sort of near Big Fire and the Margaritaville, which is called Category 10, and it is a Luke Combs restaurant. Now, a couple of things a little bit further out. Let's pull up the Epic Universe map again. I've talked about this in other videos, but just to get it all here in the one video, I do believe that a official formal City Walk 2.0 is going to be happening. I believe this is going to be right next door, and it's going to replace areas of the current surface parking lot. This is where I think a City Walk 2.0 will happen. At that same transitionary period of time, they would replace that surface parking lot with a parking structure right across the street there, more a parking garage, very similar to what we have at Universal and Islands of Adventure today. And this is exactly how they built it then, when they add a fourth theme park. So I think the fourth theme park will live right next door. There will be a City Walk 2.0 between the two. You'll move the surface parking lot to a parking garage a little bit further south there, and that will basically complete that Epic Universe area. There's also the potential for a second water park at some point. There's a few places earmarked on the map here for that. Don't know 100% sure where that will go or if it will happen, but we are expecting that to hear word about a potential second water park very soon in the next few years. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the map now. So that's pretty much it, aside from some additional hotels. We've talked about some of the hotels that are going up along I-Drive and some other locations, but there is so much happening. I mean, just think about that. Islands of Adventure totally transformed. Upgrades coming to Universal Studios. New things, new areas coming to Epic Universe. I mean, Universal is going crazy. They said they're going for that #1 spot, and it's quite obvious with all the things that are in progress. So what do you think about all the things that are happening at Universal? What are you looking forward to the most? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. And what do you want to see? What's on your wish list? You may have other things that you'd like to see that I didn't cover in this video. I'd love to hear what those would be. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this content. Until I see you next time, the Noble Way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.